The day that you were born on is called your psychic number because it represents your mindset and how you think. If you were born on the 4th, the 13th, the 22nd, or the 31st, you have a psychic number 4. These people are known to be extremely tough, extremely robust. They're not fearful, and they're not easily intimidated by anybody or anything. They're not afraid of humans. They're not afraid of animals. They're not afraid of death. They're just not fearful people. They don't really get anxiety about difficult situations. And the other thing about them is that they're extremely mysterious. They're highly secretive. And these people are really reliable. They're very consistent, and they're very practical-minded people. And so they make great friends because they will never turn against you. And these people they tend to have very few friends, but all the friends that they have, they keep them for life. And when they're in a relationship, they're very loyal. Few numbers are as loyal as a 4 is. These people love consistency because their life is always going through constant change. I'm getting ready to talk about that in a second, about all the changes I have to go through in life. But because these people go through so much change in life, they crave security and they crave foundation. And so these people are very reliable, consistent people. These people will put in the effort to maintain whatever it is that they have. But overall, they have extremely irregular personalities. These people tend to find themselves in a lot of fights and a lot of debates, not because they're argumentative. 9s and 5s are argumentative. They like arguing. 1s find themselves in a whole bunch of arguments because these people like to just say things. They just expect everybody to just go with it. And usually when people question the 1's authority, that's when they start getting aggressive. But a 4, they find themselves in a lot of arguments and a lot of debates and a lot of disagreements and a lot of scuffles with people because their mind is very abstract. These people tend to think very separate from the mainstream. And so a lot of them are outcasted, and a lot of them end up being black sheeps, but they will stand up for themselves. They have no problem standing up for themselves or standing their ground. Even when the whole world is against them, they will stand their ground and they will keep their point. They also have extremely scientific minds, and one of the issues that these people struggle with is believing anything. These people have the most doubt out of all the numbers. They doubt themselves, they doubt people, and these are the most impossible people to convince. And this is why they're not really spiritual, and a lot of them don't tend to be very religious. This is the most atheistic number. If they believe a spiritual system, or if they believe a religious system, they're going to be very knowledgeable in that field because these people, they need proof. They need to see things physically and see things tangibly. They don't do faith. These are not faithful people. These people, they need to see, they need to be able to see and prove anything that they subscribe to. As a psychic number 4, you're going to be one of 2 personalities. You're either going to be a nihilist who doesn't see any meaning in life. You're going to be extremely pessimistic, and you're just not going to give a fuck about life. You're going to reject the whole entire world, and you're just going to just live your life just having fun and chasing your desires. Or you're going to be somebody who is extremely, extremely hardworking. You're going to have a work ethic that nobody can match. You're going to have an extreme level of endurance, an extreme level of consistency, an extreme level of discipline, an extreme level of hustle and grind to you. And these guys tend to be extremely successful in whatever career or whatever field they undertake. And this is because 4s go through the most change. Anytime something goes good for a 4, something always gets destroyed. Something always happens. Every time they act upon an idea, it never works out. Every single time something goes good, something bad always has to happen. So when they get into a relationship, the relationships tend to never be successful. That's why they fight so hard to maintain that stability. For some reason, their lives are so unstable. Anytime they have an idea or an aspiration or a goal, no matter how simple or complex it is, something always gets into the way. And so this makes them extremely doubtful. And some either just give up on life and give up on trying and don't have a clear plan in life whatsoever. But the ones who really want what they want, they end up just working their asses off. They end up just repetitiously just going over and over and over and over and over again. And so because these people go through so much change in life, they have to work extremely hard for anything that they want. Even the simplest things in life, they have to work extremely hard for. They have to do things over and over and over again. They have to create the perfect plan, the perfect strategy, and they have to put in hard work and long hours and a whole bunch of effort. And so these people are extremely organized. They're extremely disciplined. They're extremely hardworking. These people are very good at breaking things down into methodical steps. Because if they don't do anything, they're also very obsessed with attention to detail. So if they don't do anything, if they don't do what they're doing perfectly and consistent and put in as much work as they put into things, They're never going to be able to acquire or get anything in life. This is their karma this lifetime. So whatever it is that they want, they have to work their asses off to get it. So they're either hustlers or they're just bums. So these people can become extremely rich, powerful, and famous, or they could just be a complete bum. There are no in-betweens for the psychic number 4. And so this, as a psychic number 4, you're either going to be extremely successful, or you're going to master your craft, or your life is just going to be worthless. But one thing these people need to worry about is that because they go through so many difficulties in life, these people will step over moral boundaries in order to get what they want. So these people can be extremely ruthless. And because their life's always like extremely chaotic, they constantly find themselves in survival mode all the time. So they can be extremely selfish. And when it comes between you or somebody else, they're going to pick themselves first all the time. So I would say, I don't believe in morality, but I will say that there are laws set in place. And so as a 4, try not to be so rebellious or so hungry for whatever it is that you want that you just break laws. Because y'all get arrested the most, and y'all get in trouble the most, because you guys have no problem overstepping laws, overstepping boundaries to get whatever it is you want. You have no problem snaking people or doing whatever you need to do to get what you want, because it's so difficult for you to acquire anything. And so I would say it's easier just put in a significant amount of work or a significant amount of effort in order to get what you want, instead of just going the illegal way. But yeah, overall, as a psychic number 4, you guys have great organizational skills. You guys have an incredible work ethic. You guys can be very disciplined. You guys have a very good attention to detail. You guys are very precise in everything that you do. And as long as you master all those characteristics, you can achieve and accomplish anything that you want in life. One thing I'll say about their mentality is that these people tend to be extremely controlled. They're very secretive. So they don't like telling people what they're feeling at all. So if someone hurts their feelings or somebody makes them extremely angry, they're going to try to hold it in and suppress it. And so these people end up having extremely terrible anger issues, because they'll just hold everything in, and when they can't take it anymore, they will just explode. And so they need to watch out for that. I would say be more in tune with your emotions and allow yourself to feel whatever it is that you're feeling as a psychic number 4. You don't have to restrict and control everything. You don't have to do all that. So just try to be more in tune with who you are and acknowledge that you are a human, because your mind is so complex and your mind is so abstract that a lot of times it makes you think differently from most people. And so you may not feel like you can connect with others because you're so different from everybody else. But just know that you are human, and you only have these traits because your mind is not governed by a physical planet. It's actually governed by a demonic entity. Last thing I'll say is that when it comes to when they're not working, these people are very chill, they're very cool. But when it comes to work, for a lot of them, their work is their religion. So when they're working, they get very intense, and they can be extremely rude because they want the job to be done perfectly. They don't want any mistakes. Kevin Samuels is a famous example of this. A lot of people think that he's very rude, but he just wants to get the results. 4 is very result-oriented, so they can be extreme. They make great managers and they make great bosses. But I would say try to be more easier on people and more light on people. But some famous psychic number 4s are Kevin Samuels, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Tyra Banks, P. Diddy, Matthew McConaughey, Obama, Rosa Parks, Robert Downey Jr., El Chapo, Angelina Jolie, Taylor Swift, Jimmy Kimmel, Fidel Castro, Julius Caesar, Thomas Jefferson, Selena Gomez, Scarlett Johansson, George Washington, Fuji Chu, Billy Carson, and Jamie Foxx. Now, for a more in-depth analysis on the psychic number 4, or if you want to learn about the specific type of psychic number 4 that you have, or if you have a different psychic number that you like to learn about, or if you like to learn about your life path number, your name number, your personality number, or your soul number, or if you'd like to learn how to see into your future by using the personal year vibration calculation, click link in my profile bio and read my book called Supreme Mathematics, A Complete Guide on Chaldean Numerology.